Michiana and Get Inspired Michiana. We're so excited that you could join us today. Our guest for Life Inspired is Debie Coble. We are so thankful that you could come.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And we are so thankful for what Goodwill is doing for the Michiana area. I'm just so impressed. I just loved that the little black dress was sold out this year. I can't even get over that.
So it was phenomenal.
Very cool.
So,
Very
absolutely.
cool. So we're going to do a little housekeeping. Thank you so much to TJ21 Media Group for the new intro. I really like that. It's so much fun. And if you've never watched Life Inspired before, what this is we are going to ask Debie 3 questions. She's going to talk about a turning point. Most people have numerous turning points in their lives. And so Debie's going to talk about one in particular. So we're going to ask what was going on life before ... and then God kind of a moment. And then what was that turning point thing? And then how are you walking an inspired life today? How do you stay inspired? And so Goodwill is a phenomenal organization. And I understand that you guys have, you're over just Michiana. And there's like a corporate somewhere.
So there's an international office that we belong to, and to do that we have to say that we are committed to a certain number of standards. So we have to say we're going to do these things to have the Goodwill. But we have our own local board of directors that oversees and governs what we do. We go as far east as Elkhart. We go as far south as Fulton and Cass County, all the way over to Illinois and into Illinois about 30 miles. And then we have Niles, Michigan. So 16 counties in Indiana, part of 3 in Illinois, and then Niles, Michigan.
Wow,
so,
very cool. So you do great stuff. So tell us, what is some backstory? I have no idea what turning point you're going to tell us about. So tell us a little bit of backstory before your turning point moment.
So, well, the first turning point was really what got me to Goodwill.
And
so I had been in retail right out of college. I was an assistant manager, if you remember the old store of Venture. Customer service manager, and it just was not my style. It was not the environment I was content in, and so I made a decision to change, tried my hand at financial planning.
Oh, no kidding.
So had my Series 6 license, my life insurance license, and could not sell a plan to save my soul.
Oh, wow.
Because back then you paid for your plans. So I knew a couple people who worked for Goodwill from my church, and they liked it. They had a store manager's position opened, and so I applied.
Because of your retail
experience. Because of my retail experience. So planned to stay about a year. Obviously, it wasn't a job I could continue for a long period of time. And then about 9 months into it, I got a call from the Human Resources Department that asked me if I was interested in being an employment specialist. And I said, what's that?
What is an employment specialist?
And they said, well, it's working with people with disabilities to help them find employment.
Wow.
And so, getting to Goodwill was a God thing. It was. And then this was the next one of just 9 months into it. And when I got into the mission of Goodwill, that's when I really fell in love with it and everything that we did. And so then I served 17 years as the vice president, kept having opportunities to work my way up and additional responsibilities, 17 years as the vice president of workforce and mission, and getting to have some influence on the things that we were doing. And did some executive training through the international office, and then when Larry Neff, many people know that name, retired after 40 years, and the board did a national search. And of course I had a deep interest in it, and God and I had a lot of conversations that I wanted his will in it, but if it wasn't his will, he was going to have to help me though, because it was going to be hard. Because I really wanted it. And so I was standing in Martin's Supermarket when I got the phone call from our board chair and offered me the position back in September, October of 2013. And so in November of 2013, assumed the role of the president. So
wow. So now you have been the president for 6 years almost.
Almost. Unbelievable.
Right? And God's doing great things. So so what does it look like now that you're serving as president of Goodwill? What does a day in the life of Debie Coble look like?
Most mornings praying that I don't screw it up. No, asking for wisdom. Really, I do that a lot, and that that we are really able to be who he wants us to be. And so one of my favorite chapters in the Bible is Proverbs 31.
Yeah.
And that's really, at the end of the day, and the end of my life, that's really, I hope people can say that was Debbie. But if you go into that before the characteristic of a noble woman, there's a part in there about leadership of a king, and a mom is giving wisdom to her son about leading people and being their voice and helping those that don't have a voice and those that are being served unjustly. And so it really has kind of become that whole chapter for me, that really is, at the end of the day, when people are saying their goodbyes to me, I hope that that's what they can reflect upon, and that's the life that I have led and served at Goodwill.
Very cool. So I heard you say earlier when you were telling about your backstory that you and God had a lot of conversations.
Yes.
What does that look like? Because our viewers have, different interpretations of, their own relationship with God. And so we know that every single one of us has a different way to connect with God, just like our retinal scan or our fingerprint.
Sure.
And so what does Debbie do? How do you connect? What does a conversation with God look like?
So, well, for those who know me, know that I love the treadmill as well.
Oh, cool.
So,
okay. I didn't know that.
I tend to work out 6 days a week.
Okay.
5 or 6 days a week. And so a lot of my prayer time is while I'm running, to be honest with you, and in the car.
Okay.
And then it's when I listen to my Bible, and then I have an app. If many people probably know the pastor Alistair Beggs, phenomenal pastor out of Cleveland, Ohio, that I try to listen to one of his sermons every day.
Wow.
And then we attend the Granger Missionary Church as well. So on a daily basis, I try to make sure that God and I have our time together. Not perfect at it. And life gets crazy, and then I have to come back and say, I'm sorry. I need to keep my focus.
I got to go have some quiet time.
Yeah. So.
Right. So, I forgot there was a question that was running through my mind that I was going to ask you, and it kind of went out of my head, but it's about Goodwill. I don't think that the International Goodwill is necessarily known as a religious organization like Salvation Army is.
Right.
Their goal is to point people towards Christ, but it seems like Goodwill of Michiana has a whole lot of Christ followers wanting to love on the world here, our Michiana world. So how did that kind of happen? Do you know?
Well, Goodwill was originally started by a Methodist minister.
Okay,
and
didn't know that.
Yeah, so we do have our base roots in that. And if you look at the things that we do, there's still, even though we're considered community-based, there's still those thread of things in there. And so and I think when you do the work of Goodwill and you're really helping people at the level that we are, I think that can naturally attract folks that are looking for a ministry outside of the church. And I do believe that we are, we have ministries, not just the pastors, but we all have a ministry.
Right.
And so I think that, you can be drawn to that. But then I think that God has just really blessed us by bringing some very distinct people into our lives at Goodwill, who are intentional about their work. And so while we do it as a community-based opportunity, when you have those followings and those, that your life is focused on God, then it radiates out into the things you do and how you serve people and how you love on people and make sure that they know that they are a special person in this world, even though they may not feel like it.
Right.
So,
right.
Yes.
So can you give us just a teeny little window of some of the things that Goodwill's doing? I've had Guy Fisher on the couch. I've had Isaiah on the couch. And so I know some of those things, but what's your favorite 2 or 3 things that you guys do? Because I know there's so many.
There's so many. I have to say probably, obviously our Excel Center. So
some people don't know what that is.
It is our high school for adults. So we know in northern Indiana there's about 56,000 adults that never got their high school diploma.
Okay.
So we get to help them who want to go back and actually get it. It's not a GED, it's a high school diploma. But along with that, we know that one of the most difficult things for a parent to go back to school is their children. So we do the Excel Center. And you talk about God just working things in. Our director that we hired, we didn't do this intentionally, but she's trained to do high scope, which is the curriculum that Head Start uses. So kids that tend to be a little bit behind getting ready for kindergarten, that program helps get those kids ready.
Great.
So we hired her, And now our little ones are getting that high scope curriculum. We've gotten Rose trained so that she is able to instruct all of our care staff, child care staff, so that they are certified for high scope.
Wow.
And we've had folks in the community say, hey, we'd like for Rose to come do this for us as well. So those things, you call them an accident, they're not an accident.
Right.
Those are those kinds of things where God had a working
God.
in it.
Yep.
Yes. And I've laughed. Our Excel centers have kept me on my knees a lot. Getting 3 of them opened, all of them have had their very unique challenges. And I remember when we opened our Hammond store, or our Hammond Excel Center, I mean, it was just, everything was going wrong. And I was talking to my mom, and she reminded me of the scripture of God saying, tell this mountain to move. And I really, literally prayed that this mountain, I needed God to move this mountain. And we got it open, and it's doing phenomenal. We're going to have 42 graduates walk across the stage next week.
Wow.
And so,
you
see
have
about
3
that.
locations,
Three
Hammond,
locations,
South Bend,
and Gary.
And
Gary now.
Hammond, South Bend, and Gary.
Yeah. And so our newest endeavor that will start this fall is our nurse-family partnership.
Okay.
And that is working with first-time moms
Oh, right.
who are pregnant. While they're pregnant, we'll have a nurse that gets assigned to them. The nurse will walk with mom and family up to 2 years of age.
Wow.
Goodwill side of things will work with dad if he's in the picture from the very beginning, if he's unemployed or underemployed. And then once mom has the baby and she's ready, then we'll walk with mom to self-sufficiency up to 5 years of age of the child if she chooses to stay involved that long.
Wow.
So again, we're getting to affect multi-generational.
Right.
So,
Are you guys creating this model, or
so
you're following
no,
someone's?
We're
Okay.
following. So the Indianapolis Goodwill had started it.
Okay.
Or had gotten involved in it. Nurse Family Partnership is actually another national organization that they
cool.
partnered up with.
Okay.
And so they've been doing it in Indianapolis. The state wanted it in Lake County, which is our territory. So the only way that they could do that is if we gave them permission. We said, well, we will, but we want to be able to eventually run it. So we're putting in an application to be able to take it over in October. So we're praying for that right now. But then they opened it up for new places, and St. Joe, Elkhart, and LaPorte counties are high on the list for infant mortality, which
Wow.
is a program that has positive impact on that number. And so we found out May 1st that we've been awarded dollars to start it in LaPorte, St. Joe, and Elkhart counties.
Wow.
So, yeah, so those are,
cool.
I don't know that there's a program that I like better than any other because they're all very special.
Right.
But those are 2 our newest, and then our veterans.
Right.
Getting to work with our veterans is also just really important
That's
to me.
very
So,
cool.
yeah.
And so we do have a lot of viewers that want to pray for you, and others that
you.
want to volunteer.
Uh-huh.
I might have people that want to have coffee and
Sure,
meet with
absolutely.
you. So you guys
Absolutely.
just message us here if you're interested in meeting with Debbie.
Yes.
Just message us here. We'll put you in contact. But is there anything in particular that you want people to pray for, or ways that they could volunteer? Just participate in
So,
things like
sure.
Little Black Dress. What's the other fundraiser you do every year? You do two.
We do
big ones.
we do 2 Little Black Dress events.
Okay,
So
2
we
different
do one in
locations.
South Bend, and then we do one over in Maryville.
Okay.
So, the biggest prayer is just for God to continue to give us the wisdom and the insight that we need to continue to do what we're doing. Open doors that need to be open, and shut doors that need to be shut.
Yes.
So that's very important. And then volunteering, we are continuously developing more opportunities. We have Pack a Backpack coming up this summer.
Okay.
And we need lots of volunteers to help pack backpacks for
Okay.
kids in need.
Okay.
So they have the school supplies for next
And
fall.
that would be
So,
family friendly. So
family friendly, absolutely.
So if mom
So,
wants to bring the kids
yes.
and come pack backpacks, that's a great
Yes,
way to
that'd
teach
be-
kids that, hey, you're pretty privileged. These other kids don't have all these
Absolutely.
things.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So, yes.
Very cool. Well, thank
So,
you so much
thank
for visiting.
you.
We're so grateful to have you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You guys, we're so
So-
grateful that you would watch, and I'm not sure where the camera is. It's still on Debbie right
Oh.
now. So thank you for watching. It is a great weekend in South Bend. We do have Best Week Ever and the River Lights Festival. So if you're anywhere near South Bend, come on down for that. And have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for watching. And let us know if you know someone should be on the red couch. We'd love to have their story as well. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yes, we have. We have Jesus. From a spirit in heaven. We have